Hey everybody, welcome to Talk Jamie Talk podcast. I am your host, Jamie, aka Miss Coco Bowden. Y'all, today it's actually a good thing today what I got to talk about that just came across the net and I thought it was worthy of being on this podcast. And it's about a book that's out by Taraji P. Henson, and she's getting ready to release her new children's book, and I think it's so important that we pay attention to what's going on as a society, because it's so many branches of society out here that you don't realize that there's some branches out here that are nobody but bullies. When I got to talking about and thinking about social services and how they're supposed to be helpmates to benefit the communities, instead, sometimes they can abuse their position. And when they do, they become bullies. So this doesn't just happen to adults. Adults are not the only ones that get bullied, but it also happens to kids. And so Taraji P. Henson has this book release out. And let's read the article on it. Yahoo Entertainment says that the Oscar-nominated actor and best-selling author's book will empower kids to stand up against bullying. And it's called You Can Be a Friend, No Matter What. Taraji P. Henson is stepping back into the publishing world, this time with a children's book with an empowering message. The Oscar-nominated actress and mental health advocate told People exclusively that her new children's book, You Can Be a Good Friend No Matter What, will be published this year by Zonda Kids, an imprint of HarperCollins. The book will come out on June 18, 2024. Henson has been vocal about her own mental health struggles in the past. Her Baruch Lawrence Henson Foundation aims to dismantle the stigma surrounding mental health in the Black community. And with this new book, she's aiming to help children who may be experiencing bullying because they're uniquely themselves. Mental health struggles can start even in childhood, and oftentimes it begins with being bullied. Henson says in a statement exclusive to People, this book isn't just about bullying, though. It's about how children all have something different about them, and being different is what makes them oh so very special. The book, which is illustrated by Paul Kellum, tells the story of the quirky and stylish little TJ's first day of school. When she arrives, she realizes she's standing out in all the wrong ways. Her classmate Boo begins teasing her, which fills little TJ with anxiety. But when she recalls some important words of wisdom from her grandma Patsy, she figures out how to make new friends and help someone else along the way. Now, with her new book, kids book, Henson is hoping to empower kids to be kind to one another and deal with their own anxieties. She intends her new book to promote mental wellness and kids' socialization skills, as well as the importance of standing in their own uniqueness and choosing friendship over bullying. So you can be a good friend no matter what is for the kids who feel different. This book is for the parents who want their kids to accept differences. And this book is for the kids and families who's encountered hard times because of differences, Henson says. I can't wait to see the many conversations my book starts in homes and classrooms everywhere. And the article goes on to say Henson recently starred in The Color Purple and also appeared in award-winning films The Curious Case, Benjamin Button, and Hidden Figures, and on shows like Abbott Elementary and Empire. She published her memoir Around the Way Girl in 2017. We are so proud of this book and feel that it's not just a fun story, but an essential tool for teaching empathy, resilience, and self-love, said Megan Dobson, Vice President and Publisher of Zonda Kids. Our hope is that this will become a conversation starter about mental wellness, an important lesson in friendship and handling through those social situations, and a testament to the importance of standing proud in one's own uniqueness. You Can Be a Good Friend No Matter What will be published on June 18th, 2024. Now, I must say that I am so proud of Taraji for coming out with this book, okay? Because this book is so needed. So many kids are getting bullied, and they're getting bullied by their teachers. We can't just say anymore that it's just kids bullying kids. Now we have grown teachers who they single out a child, and then they encourage the other kids to pick on the children. And now we can't just say that it's teachers picking on kids. Now we got to say it's principals picking on children too. The Board of Education is picking on kids. They're bullies too. I mean, it's so much that can be opened up about this, because bullying just doesn't start. It takes somebody not to like who they are to pick on somebody else. It takes a person whose self-esteem is so far down that the only way they can feel good is to beat up on others. And we see a lot of that. If you've ever had children that's been bullied, then you know how difficult it is to manage them at home. It's even tough at home. When you have a child that's been bullied, that child, everything that child has to soak in at school, when that child gets home, they let it out. It's just like a child, if they being bullied at home, when they get to school, they let it out. That's the same way it is. And some of these kids don't realize that, hey, you can step up and you can, you have to learn. We need to teach our children to be more resilient. I mean, that's just real right there. Each time they fall down, we need to teach our kids how to get back up on a strong foundation. Because right now, we got weak people in the systems. I mean, I'm just being honest about it. School used to be so strict back in the days. I was looking the other day at school teachers and how they dress. They dress, it's almost like they're trying to fit in with what society is saying is the absolute standard. And so our teachers now dress like they teenagers. It's like they're dressing, trying to dress down their position and their influence that they really have over children. So back in the day, if y'all remember, when you had school teachers or principals, you didn't see them wearing jeans, except for on special occasions, whenever it was like a dress down. But the same way people have lost respect for church is the same way that people have lost respect for their job at schools. They come in now and they're not dressed neatly. You wouldn't be able to tell them apart from someone who was just walking around from outside. That's one reason why we can't identify some of these active shooters that go into the school, because they look just like teachers. They dress down just like teachers. And I'm not saying that the teachers have to be anything other than themselves, but I'm saying you need to put on your professional wardrobe when you're coming to stand in front of these kids and influence them. You're influencing our kids to dress like it doesn't mean anything to show up to school. So that influence is very heavy on kids. And why does it matter? It matters because when kids see that you take your job seriously and they can distinguish the difference between you and the students, it means a lot. It means a lot. The influence is there. That teacher right there in that moment can talk to a child, and that child won't bully again. Or that child won't get caught off guard again, and the child will believe that somebody actually really cares. See, how you look, it does matter. Unfortunately, it does matter in the eyes of our children, because they want to go to the safe place, and the safe place, unfortunately, is not within our teachers these days. It's not. Our teachers these days, they are in need of safe space themselves. Now, back in the days, if a teacher had a problem at home with their husband or wife, it didn't rub off at school. But now, you get teachers now that come in there, they ignore bullying because they don't have the mental capacity themselves to really speak up against it, even to these children. And so many people are afraid of the parents these days. We just need to put boundaries back there because the teacher needs to be able to hold that classroom down in the strong way so that they can teach our children as they're teaching how to deal with bullying. And parents at home are the same. You got to put back on your attire for being a parent. And sometimes that's not a physical dressing. Sometimes that's an inner being thing that you need to put back on that strict foundation of being a parent instead of just being a friend. Our children need influences that they can follow and be proud to follow, that won't lead them astray from what is the strongest way of life that they can survive. Because, that's what we're here for, is to teach our children how. You know what school is for? School is for to teach these children education on how to survive in life. You know what parents are for? To raise and teach children how to survive in life, how they can be productive in society once they are of age. That's what all of this is about. And as long as kids are getting bullied underneath the watch of bullies, these mass shootings, these homicides, these drug addictions and overdose rates, they go up. Notice when we took the standard out of school and allowed more bullying, these rates went up. You could look at a child and tell who the troubled child was going to be when they grew up. And some of them were. Now, maybe about 1% didn't end up being troubled, but they looked at trouble or they came from a troubled background. But the ones you thought wasn't going to be troubled, those were the ones troubled. There were kids that I would see long time ago. This is a long time ago. These kids had all the potential in the world to be anybody they want to be, in athletes, in scholarships. They had the opportunity, and their parents had the money to back whatever opportunity they wanted to do. The money was there. Problem was the emotional support wasn't there. Some of these children parents were so caught up into themselves that they didn't realize that they were bullying and harassing their kids themselves. And so when the kids grew up, even though they were giving the kids everything they wanted, the kids could have anything. The parents just didn't have on that garment of parenthood. They didn't have it on. And so as they're giving these kids, here, you can drink, here, you can smoke, there. You know what? The sad thing is, they gave them the way to leave here at a young age. Now, these kids that I'm talking about that I saw, some of them are deceased now. They died young. Because sometimes bullying can be, man, you scared. Go ahead and try this. Man, you don't want none of this. It could be the peer pressure that comes along with growing up. And that pressure can sit on a person so bad until it busts the pipe. So I think we do need to teach our children how to be resilient, but we need to teach them why they're being resilient and why it's okay to be different, why it's okay to be unique. Because there were parents, like I said, that taught their kids that where they bullied their own children, really, because they wanted their children to grow up and be like them. And some of the children couldn't handle that pressure, so they did grow up to be like them. The only thing about it was they didn't survive. Because, see, those parents who were doing the bullying, they actually had parents who had a structured household, and their form of bullying was just rebelling against their parents. The kids these days, they are just so afraid to be different, afraid to be anything other than themselves. And it's no real way on how to blame anybody. The real solution is to teach kids how to deal with their emotions and how to emotionally be intelligent and how to socially be intelligent, and teach them resilience, problem-solving skills. They need to know that conflict is out here. And then today, if you speak of conflicts, they want to kick you out of the schools. They don't want you to come teaching their kids about conflict is real. Parents are really sensitive to things now. Things that they knew helped them. It helped them when it was in the school. But now they want to take so much out of the schools that our kids need to thrive. Just like when they took prayer out of the schools. They took prayer out of the school, and what they replaced it with? Nothing. Except giving the kids opportunity to sit there and maybe bully one another. They didn't replace prayer with nothing. For everything they took out, they didn't replace it with nothing. And a lot of the new programs they have in the school now that are grant-based, they're just so somebody can get some money. So they can say we got these jobs in place, but then the people that they hire to come in there to run these programs are not all the way there. I'd never heard of the day when so many teachers got away with yelling at kids. When was this ever okay? The teachers are teaching our children to yell back and forth at one another. Now, what goes on in a person's home is one thing, but when you get into a government establishment, there's rules and regulations. And a lot of these teachers are out of line. And don't forget about the church teachers, the ones who come and testify about everything that goes on in the school, but they do nothing to improve the situations. They just run their mouth. And kids still get bullied under their watch. So what am I saying? To sum this all up, what I'm saying is adults got to go back to being adults with responsibility and be able to pick up on these people when they start, these kids when they start bullying each other. Because, I mean, there's no such thing as I didn't see it. Because most of the time, most teachers do see what go on in these schools, but they turn their head to it because, again, like I said about the social service bullies, it's the same thing with the teacher bullies. They don't want to write up a report. They don't want to be bothered with incident reports. That's the only reason why they turn their heads. They don't want to be bothered. They will do anything to keep from having to write up something and having this, be held accountable. So I'm glad Taraji got this book out, and I'm glad that it's coming out, and that kids will have a way to look at bullying and harassment, and we need more books like this out. Who knows? I might put my own book out that's about bullying and harassing, because I know what it's like from both sides of the spectrum, from being a bully to being bullied. I was bullied before I was a bully. And then I had to learn how not to be a bully no more, because guess what? Once you grow up, now this becomes all kind of assault offenses and it becomes forms of harassment. And that was not the life I wanted to lead. Once I learned better, I did better. And that's what I'm saying now. That if we can teach our children ahead of time to do better. And sometimes it hurt being the bigger person. Not swallow the emotion, but learn how to deal with the emotion and then go for it. It's not that easy. And that's why everybody needs to be on board with why we stand against bullying. Because if one person doesn't agree to stand up against bullying, then it just really breaks the whole chain. And if one link is bad, it affects the whole group of people who's trying to do the right thing. Okay, y'all, so that's what I have for you, and thanks to Taraji P. Henson for that book. Again, y'all can look for it out on shelves. You Can Be a Good Friend No Matter What will be published June 18th, 2024. Peace, love, and happiness till next time.